friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to sit down and talk to you about my 12 favorite eyeshadow shades. Not necessarily like favorite palettes or anything like that, just individual eyeshadow shades that I'm just obsessed with. So I have about 9 palettes sitting here that I'm going to show you my top 12 favorite eyeshadow shades ever. I just think these eyeshadow shades are absolutely stunning. Every time I use them, I love how my look turns out. And I just wanted to tell you about them today. I actually got this idea from 2 of my friends on here, Kelly and Cara. Kelly's channel is KBellaBeauty and then Cara's channel is Beauty and the Frizz. They both did this video and collaborated on it together, and I thought it was such a good idea. I loved watching both of their videos and seeing what 12 eyeshadows they loved. I will definitely link their videos down below for you guys. I definitely highly recommend you checking them out. Both of them are actually new finds for me. I found Kelly's channel about a month ago or so, and then I discovered Cara through Kelly's collaboration with her on this video, and I subscribed to both of them and I am loving both of their content. So I highly recommend you not only checking out their videos on this topic, but just their channels in general, because they are awesome. They're both teachers like me. They both have great personalities, fun, upbeat, and if you like my content, I think that you would definitely really like theirs as well. So I will have that link down below for you guys. Before we get started, don't forget I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday for you guys. If you like this video while you're watching, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It helps me out. And without further ado, if you are excited and you want to see what my 12 top favorite, amazing, lovely eyeshadows are, then let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, went ahead and rolled up my sleeves because I'm going to be doing some swatches for you guys. Now, most of these are shimmers or some sort of shimmer formula. Only 4 of them are mattes. And I love a good matte shade, I do, but I feel like a shimmer is just really what pulls the look together and just really makes an eye look spectacular and special. So I definitely have more shimmery shades than matte shades, but I got a couple really awesome mattes for you too. So I want to start it off strong with the Anasazi Beverly Hills and Jackie Aina palette. Are you guys sick? Are you guys sick of me talking about this palette on my channel yet? Because I feel like I talk about it all the time because it is one of my favorite palettes ever to be made ever. And I have 3 shades in here that I want to talk about today. 3 of the 12, 25%, 1/4 of my favorite eyeshadow shades ever comes from this beauty right here. I'm obsessed with this palette, but you guys know that. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, then you know that. And the first one I want to talk about in this palette is this sponsored shade right here. I will swatch it for you. It is an absolutely beautiful duochrome that goes from green to brown. Can you see that? So it's like green and then brown. This is just so special on the eyes because it really makes you look as if you're using 2 different eyeshadows, which is like the point of a duochrome, but it's just so beautiful on the eyes. And when you're moving, it's shifting from that green to brown, and it is just stunning. I'm a sucker for green eyeshadow. I love green eyeshadow. So the fact that this is a green duochrome to brown is just, it's just beautiful. And look at that swatch. Like, it is so reflective and shiny and just stunning. I'm obsessed with this shade. The second shade from the palette I want to talk about is one I've talked about multiple times on my channel, and it is Trust Issues right here. This shade is one of the most unique shades I have in my whole entire collection. So when you swatch it on your finger, it looks like a shade, right? It's like a white color, but when you swatch it, it is such a unique shade. It's almost as if it doesn't exist until it hits the light, and then it's nothing but like gold shimmer. I am so in love with this eyeshadow shade. It's like not even funny. I love using this as an inner corner and brow bone highlight. I want to do a look where it's just all over my lid or maybe tapped on top of something, because it does, like, it looks like it's non-existent and then bam, gold shimmer. And it is just, it's so stunning and just so unique to my collection. I don't have anything else like this that I can think of, and it's like one of my favorite shades ever. That's why it's in this video, but you know what I mean. And then the last shade from the Jackie Aina palette that I want to talk about is this pink shade up here called Supreme. It is a matte shade. This is my favorite pink eyeshadow, I think, ever. Like, honestly, ever. I love this shade so much. Do a swatch. Okay, that's not the best swatch. Let me build that swatch up because that doesn't do you justice. It is just such a beautiful, bright, corally pink. That's like pink, but not too pink, like bubblegum Barbie pink or anything like that, but it's not coral and it's not, and I don't even know how to explain this shade. It is just stunning. When I put this eyeshadow on my eyes, I just feel so good. Like, I just love it so much. I've done a look before where all I did was put Supreme all over my lid, and then I took this Credit shade as just like a liner and kind of smoked it out, and it was like an all matte look that was mainly this Supreme shade and then just this as liner, and it was one of my favorite eyeshadow looks that I've ever made with this palette. And I've made a lot of looks for this palette because, as I said earlier, I'm obsessed with it. But there's something so special about this whole entire palette, but especially those 3 shades. I'll just never get over how much I love these. The next eyeshadow I want to talk about, I'm going to also stick with the Anasazi Beverly Hills and Collab palette, and that one is the Carly Bible palette. I am not totally in love with like the packaging of this, but the inside shades are absolutely stunning. I actually have this palette on my eyes right now. All I did was use these 2 shades. This one is Stev. I think S-T-E-V, yeah, Stev, right? So I put this into my crease and on the outer and inner corner, and then I put this shade Aura on the center for like a halo eye, and I love how it turned out. I didn't have like a good YouTuber moment because I probably should have used some of these shades that I'm going to talk about on my eyes, and I didn't. But do you ever have those moments where you have an eye look in mind that you just cannot get off your mind and you have to recreate it? Does that happen to you? Because I was seriously laying in bed last night trying to fall asleep, and all I could think about was this eye look and creating this eye look with those 2 shades. So I had to wake up today and do it, right? Make my thought into reality. But neither of those shades are the ones that I want to talk about today for this palette. The one that stands out to me in this palette is this gold mousse shade right here. And you're probably thinking like, Emily, really? Of all the shades in this palette, of all the pops of color, of all these like unique shades that she has, the gold is the one that you're in love with? Like, gold shades are just so common. There's probably a gold in like 90% of the palettes that I own, you know what I mean? But there's just something so special about this mousse shade. It is so incredibly reflective and gold and just stunning. I can't even put into words how much I love this gold shade. It's probably my favorite gold shade I've ever used in my entire life. When I put this on my lid, it is just so reflective and stunning, and I feel beautiful every time I use this shade. I actually used it in my classic holiday glam video that I put up a couple days ago. I'll link it in the eye for you because I just really genuinely loved how that look turned out, and I put this mousse shade all over the lid, and every time I do, I just feel beautiful. I know that my eyeshadow looks good, it looks reflective, it looks stunning, and I just feel good in it. Do you know what I mean? So I love a lot of shades in this palette, but this mousse shade is like perfect. I feel kind of bad when I do videos like this because I feel like I'm just a broken record. I'm so repetitive in the items that I talk to you guys about and rave to you about because I just love them so much. And this video is no exception because most of these palettes, you've heard me just talk about how much I love them so much. But now obviously I'm just pointing out the specific shades I love in them. So I'm sorry if it's a little repetitive. But the next eyeshadow palette I want to talk about is one you've heard me talk about a million times, and it is the Huda Beauty Nude Light palette. I love this, but specifically my favorite shade in this palette is this shimmer shade right here. You can tell I get a lot of use out of these shimmers, and this is definitely like the most used one. It doesn't have names on it, unfortunately, so I can't really tell you what the shade name is, but it's this one, and it is just so beautiful. Again, it's one that I know every time I go to use it, I'm going to love my look. I'm going to love how it turns out. I love using this pink, this like mauve purple, and then this shimmer all over the lid. It is just something so special. Huda does shimmers correctly, and I feel like I love almost all of her shimmers, but yeah, this one is just chef's kiss. And then sticking with another shimmer and another palette you've heard me talk about many times, it is the ColourPop Going Coconut palette. Can you guess what shade I'm going to talk about in this? I bet you can. It is this middle Cocoa Crush shade. I have no words for the shade because it is just so stunning, like so stunning. I cannot do a swatch. It is a little crumbly. I obviously, as you can see, I always have to use glitter glue with it, but oh my gosh, this shade on your eye, it's just so reflective and so beautiful. I don't even know what else to say besides it's just stunning. I love this palette. You've heard me talk about it a million times. I love using this shade, and then this shade all together. Those 3 are like my go-tos with this palette. There's just something so special about this eyeshadow, and I just love it. The next eyeshadow I want to talk about is in the ColourPop So Jaded palette that they did in collaboration with Kathleen Lights. I almost didn't include this in my video because I don't know if this is available anymore, if I'm being honest. And if you don't have your hands on it, I'm sorry, because I think this is a shade like only in this palette, if that makes sense. But it is this diamond shade up in the corner. It's a super shock, and I don't really know if I'm going to be able to show you a good swatch of it because it's one that's really kind of like trust issues. It's almost non-existent, but when you just tap this on top of your eye look, it just brings it to life. Yeah, like you can barely see it there. I mean, it has a little tiny bit of pigmentation, but when you put it on your eyes, it really doesn't change the look of your eyeshadow. It just amps it up and adds so much shimmer and shine and just dimension to your eye look. I'm obsessed with just tapping this on. Every time I use this palette, I go into that diamond shade and finish off my look with it. And even it's like sometimes when I'm not using this palette and I'm using something else and I'm just like, this look needs a little bit more pizzazz, I will go into this palette for this diamond shade. If you can see, like, it's just so stunning and reflective. And yeah, like I said, it's my go-to to just tap on your eye and just take it from like, oh, that's a pretty eye look, to like, do you have a disco ball on your eye? But in like the best way possible, because it's just, oh, so shimmery and just stunning. The next palette I want to talk about is the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. There are a ton of shades in here that I just think are absolutely stunning and beautiful and really one of a kind. Like this Aster shade right here is such a beautiful shimmer shade. I love it. This kitty, oh my goodness, there's a kitty outside. Oh, hi baby. Oh, him's gone. He went to the bushes. Oh my gosh, I'm like a cat person now. It's weird. Anyways, sorry, got really distracted. This Agate Gold shade is another really beautiful one. And then there's a couple mattes in here that I really genuinely love. This Jasper shade is stunning, but the one that I want to talk about today that I just am so in love with is this shade right here, which is called Carnelian. This is a matte shade, and it actually, in the pan, looks a little bit more yellow almost, but on my eyes it actually shows up more orange, which I guess it looks pretty orange there. But there's just something about this matte shade. Whenever I use it, I absolutely love the look that I come up with. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I will say the first couple times I used it, I was expecting it to be a little bit more yellow, and it definitely, like I said, turns up to be more orange on my eyes. So that was just kind of like an adjustment, a learning process that I had to remember, like, oh, okay, when I use this shade, it's gonna be more orange than yellow. But it's just so bright and vibrant, but not unwearable. It doesn't get patchy on me. It goes on so nicely. It wears really nicely throughout the day. And I'm just so in love with this shade. It's just, like I said, one of a kind, so special in my collection, and I'm in love. I'm in love. Alrighty, I have two more favorites in this next palette, and it is the Sydney Grace Enduring Love palette. I could have picked like all 12 from this palette, if I'm being honest, because it is just such a beautiful palette that's really honestly hard to hold. I'm not gonna lie. This is like so flimsy, but I love this palette so much. The two shades that I want to talk about is Romeo, and then right here is Devotion. These shades, this formula of Sydney Grace is just magical. It is so good. I've talked about this palette a million times on my channel before, but their mattes, her mattes, I don't know if it's like one specific person or not, but the Sydney Grace's mattes are just beautiful and blend out so nicely. But their shimmers, I don't really know if Romeo is like a shimmer like Devotion is, but they're just these two shades, there's something special about them. Let me swatch them for you. So here is Romeo. It is such a beautiful light pink. The way I love to use this shade is as my inner corner and brow bone highlight. And when I use this as a brow bone and inner corner highlight, my eyes just pop. Like there's something so special about using this really iridescent light pink on specific looks. Obviously, it wouldn't go with everything, but I just feel so pretty when I use this shade on my inner corner and brow bone. I have used it all over my lid one time, and it wasn't as like magical and special as an inner corner brow bone highlight, but this, it's so beautiful. And then the second shade I want to talk to you about is Devotion. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Like, are you serious? Are you Are you serious right now? Look at that. Oh my gosh. This is stunning. I love this palette. That looks like wet gold, like liquid gold on my finger right now. I love it. I love this palette so much. Another like honorable mention that I'll just like mention really quickly right here is this John shade. I'm just gonna like swatch it on the other arm because like this isn't part of my 12, but I really want to show you it. It's another one. Oh, I can't. I wasn't gonna show you that one, but I did anyways because I just love it so much. This palette is just so stinking good. If you have not gotten your hands on it, what are you waiting for? I know it's kind of pricey. I know this is like $48, I believe. And I feel like Sydney Grace doesn't really go on sale a lot of the times. But if you have the means to order and buy this palette, I cannot recommend it to you enough. Okay, I'm gonna end it strong with two matte shades, and they're both from Natasha Denona. I mean, could you guess? I love Natasha Denona so much. The first one I want to talk about is in the mini gold palette, and it's this beautiful like dark green, army green shade right here. That's a matte shade, and this is the shade Bia, B-I-A. Oh my gosh, I love using this on my eyes. I think it is so incredibly stunning. Let me get a little better swatch for you that doesn't do it justice, and I like want to do it justice. Oh gosh, I love this shade. It shows up a little bit darker on my eyes. I feel like here it's looking a little bit more green, and on my eyes it does show up a little bit darker and just more intense and like a army olivey green and not like pea green to me, but I feel like it shows up darker on my eyes. But anyways, I love Natasha Denona's matte shades. They are just so pretty. I mean, her shimmers and all that are stunning too. Like everything about Natasha Denona, I just love. But there's just something so special about this shade of green. I just love it. I love this palette in general, and I love this shimmer too, but I had to do 12, right? I guess I could have done more, but Kelly and Cara did 12, so then I was gonna do 12. But anyways, I love this matte shade. It is stunning. I love using it on my eyes. It is just so pretty. How many times am I gonna repeat myself? And then the last one I want to talk about is another matte shade, and it is in the mini retro palette. I honestly could have put this whole palette in here as like 5 shades because I love this palette so much. It's not even funny. I love this palette. I said in one of my recent videos that I have 5 of the Natasha Denona mini palettes, and I said that this was like in my top 2. I didn't want it to claim my favorite spot, but I think it is. I think it's my favorite of the 5. I just love this palette so much. I'm gonna do an honorable mention in another one because this isn't the one I want to talk about, but it is this one right here, which is Pixie. It's kind of like the diamond shade from the So Jaded palette, where it's just kind of more of a topper. It doesn't have a ton of pigmentation to it, but that's not the one I want to talk about. The one I want to talk about is this like dark matte gray green shade right here. It's called 60s. Look at that gray. Oh my goodness gracious. It is another one. That's the worst swatch ever. All right, let's try that again. Take 2. Oh my gosh. It's another one that is just so pretty. It's such like a dark gunmetal gray that's honestly just so unique to my collection. I don't have any other shadows this shade family, anything like that. It is so unique, and actually these two would look really good together in a and I like, maybe I should make that happen sometime. But yeah, I just am so in love with this. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like gray, but has like a hint of green, but mainly gray, but it's not like light gray, it's dark. I don't know. It's just stunning. I probably should have thought of more adjectives to describe it before I started filming, but there's just something so special about this matte. I love it. I love it. So here is all of them one more time for you. Oof. I feel like all 4 of these shimmers are so similar, but I don't even care because they're just my favorite. I love them. And that was it, you guys. That was my 12 favorite eyeshadows. I feel like I wear color a lot more often than this. Like the only 2 really colorful shades are this orange and this pink. I do like colorful eyeshadow, but I don't know, when it comes to just like my favorites, my go-tos that I just know I will love my look no matter what. I'm obviously like a neutral girl at heart, but yeah, these are the 12 eyeshadows I just love so incredibly much, and I highly recommend you picking up any of these palettes for, I hate to say for like these shades because I would hate to buy a palette for just like one shade, but like, ooh, I just love all 12 of these so much, it's not even funny. But that was it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you loved listening to me ramble about the 12 eyeshadow shades that I just love so much, that I just think are so unique and special and amazing in my collection. Don't forget to check out Kelly and Cara's videos and just channels in general. Like I said, I will have them linked down below for you guys. They are both really great. And like I said, if you like my content, I think you would really like theirs as well. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. You're awesome and I love you. Please subscribe if you have not yet. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, guys.